You're watching NFL Daily Brief, top football headlines made simple. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Here are the brief highlights of today's top stories. Let's preview NFL Week 3 games, picks, predictions, fantasy 10 factors and nuggets to know. 49ers to start Jones at QB in place of ailing Purdy. Ravens Henry, keep calling Hopkins, washed. Charbonnet among 4 Seahawks doubtful versus Saints. Back injury sidelines Broncos Engram for Week 3. Clowney to dispute arrest in SC parking dispute. Garrett, Parsons among best in this generation. Burrow has toe surgery, out 3 months, sources say. Teen in Pearsall shooting won't be tried as adult. Last-minute fantasy football pickups for Week 3. Our first look at the NFL trade deadline. Candidates to move, plus teams that could be active. Can the Chiefs get back on track? We stacked every Super Bowl loser that started the next season 0-2. Which 0-2 teams still have a shot at the playoffs? Don't be surprised if Chase remains top fantasy player. Dobbins runs for 1K yards. Cowboys DC Matt Eberflus not seeking revenge against Bears on Sunday. Dalvin Cook meets Caleb Williams? How Tyreek Withers brought Cameron Cade to life. Betting buzz. Warren I's history as OROY co-favorite. What are the odds? Top 25 predicted anytime NFL TD scorers for Week 3. Roquan Smith soars, Travis Kelce slips in Madden NFL 26 Week 2 ratings update. Now, let's dive deeper into the details. The Week 3 National Football League schedule features intriguing matchups, including 2 battles between undefeated teams.
The Rams visit the Eagles, and the Cardinals face the 49ers, while injuries impact several quarterbacks.
Joe Burrow, J.J. McCarthy, and Justin Fields are ruled out, with Brock Purdy and Jaden Daniels listed as questionable.
On Sunday night, the Chiefs aim to overcome their 0-2 start against the Giants.
The Eagles are the first team since 2010 to start 2-0 without a passing touchdown.
The Rams' defense has allowed only 1 touchdown through 2 games.
The Bengals look to improve their league-worst rushing attack against the Vikings.
The Vikings have run the fewest offensive plays this season due to a low third-down conversion rate.
The Raiders' defense has allowed the 4th fewest yards per rush this season.
The Commanders face a challenge against Brock Bowers, a dynamic tight end.
The Texans aim to avoid an 0-3 start for the first time since 2020.
The Jaguars need to find ways to involve wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. more in the offense.
Mac Jones is likely to start at quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers against the Arizona Cardinals this Sunday. This would be his 2nd consecutive start, replacing the injured Brock Purdy. Purdy is listed as questionable due to a toe injury sustained the previous week. While Purdy participated in limited practice all week, his chances of starting are slim. Head coach Kyle Shanahan stated it is highly unlikely Purdy will start. The decision on whether Purdy will even suit up as a backup depends on his recovery over the next 48 hours. If Purdy cannot serve as backup, practice squad quarterback Adrian Martinez may be elevated again. League rules dictate that if Purdy is the emergency 3rd quarterback, the 2nd-string quarterback must be on the active roster. This complicates matters further, as the 49ers' offensive line is dealing with multiple injuries. Rookie Connor Colby, slated to start at left guard, suffered a groin injury in practice and is questionable for Sunday. Spencer Burford, another backup offensive lineman, has been ruled out with a knee injury potentially requiring surgery. These injuries add to the uncertainty around Purdy's availability for the game. Derrick Henry supports the criticism directed at DeAndre Hopkins, believing it fuels his performance.
Hopkins has been called washed, but he is proving his critics wrong with his recent performances.
At 33 years old, Hopkins has already made 2 impressive touchdown catches in his first 2 games with the Ravens.
Lamar Jackson highlighted Hopkins' remarkable catching ability, emphasizing his large hands.
Hopkins tied for the most one-handed touchdown catches since 2017, showcasing his exceptional skill.
He aims to become the first Raven to score a touchdown in each of the first 3 games of the season.
Henry believes Hopkins has consistently made big plays throughout his career, defying age-related decline.
Hopkins joined the Ravens on a 1-year deal after a challenging 2024 season with the Titans and Chiefs.
Despite limited playing time, Hopkins has made a significant impact for the Ravens.
He played 18 snaps in Week 1 and only 10 in Week 2, showcasing his efficiency.
Offensive coordinator Todd Monken plans to increase Hopkins' playing time as he becomes more integrated into the team.
Monken recognizes Hopkins as a tremendous player and believes his increased involvement will benefit the team.
The Seattle Seahawks may be short-handed in their secondary for a second consecutive week against the New Orleans Saints.
Running back Zach Charbonnet is also expected to be unavailable for the game.
Charbonnet, along with Pro Bowl cornerback Devin Witherspoon, Pro Bowl safety Julian Love, and rookie safety Nick Amanwari, are listed as doubtful.
However, coach Mike Macdonald stated that none of the 4 players are currently being considered for injured reserve.
Charbonnet sustained a toe injury during the Seahawks' victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He missed all practices this week due to this injury.
Charbonnet and Ken Walker III have shared the starting running back role this season.
Walker has been the more productive of the two, with 142 scrimmage yards and 1 touchdown.
George Halani and rookie Jacardia Wright provide additional depth at the running back position.
The Seahawks defense held Aaron Rodgers to 203 passing yards despite missing key players in their secondary last week.
Josh Jobe and Darian Kendrick filled in at cornerback, while D'Anthony Bell replaced Amanwari.
The Seahawks are currently listed as 7.5-point favorites against the New Orleans Saints.
Denver Broncos tight end Evan Engram will be sidelined for their Week 3 game against the Los Angeles Chargers due to a back injury.
Broncos coach Sean Payton confirmed that the injury occurred during their Week 2 game against the Indianapolis Colts.
In that game, Engram only managed 1 catch for 12 yards and played 25 snaps.
Engram signed a 2-year, $23 million deal with the Broncos in March.
He also suffered a calf injury in Week 1 against the Tennessee Titans.
So far this season, Engram has only 4 receptions for 33 yards on 6 targets.
These numbers are significantly lower than what the Broncos anticipated.
The tight end position has been a problematic area for Denver in recent seasons.
Last year, Lucas Kroll led the Broncos tight ends with a mere 19 receptions.
16 other teams had at least 2 tight ends with more than 19 receptions in 2024.
Despite the setbacks, Payton remains confident that Engram will play a significant role in the offense when healthy.
Linebacker Dre Greenlaw will also miss the Chargers game with a thigh injury, having not played yet this season.
Dallas Cowboys defensive end Jadeveon Clowney plans to dispute his recent arrest in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
The arrest occurred on September 12 and involved charges of trespassing and failure to identify himself.
The incident stemmed from a parking lot dispute with police at Clowney's aunt's apartment complex during a nearby football game.
Police were preventing cars from parking in the complex due to the game, and Clowney reportedly argued with officers and displayed a defiant attitude.
Clowney stated that the situation escalated quickly, a common occurrence in South Carolina according to him.
He was taken to jail, missing part of the football game he was attending.
Clowney joined the Cowboys on Monday and has practiced with the team this week.
His availability for Sunday's game against the Chicago Bears is uncertain.
While a team spokesman said the incident will not influence the decision on whether he plays, Cowboys executive vice president Stephen Jones suggested the team is leaning towards him not playing.
Despite missing training camp, Clowney claims to be physically prepared to play.
He is awaiting the coach's decision on how they plan to utilize him.
The situation remains fluid as Clowney navigates this legal issue and his potential role with the Cowboys.
Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons are 2 of the highest-paid players at their position, defensive end.
Garrett recently stated that he and Parsons are 2 of the best in their generation of edge rushers.
This conversation comes just before the Cleveland Browns and the Green Bay Packers face off in Week 3.
This will be the second meeting between these 2 dominant pass rushers.
Garrett signed a large extension with the Browns earlier this year.
Parsons was traded to the Packers from the Dallas Cowboys and signed an even larger contract.
Garrett and Parsons trained together during the offseason and remained in contact.
Garrett even offered Parsons advice during his contract dispute with the Cowboys.
Parsons has been incredibly successful since entering the National Football League in 2021.
He and Reggie White are the only players with at least 12 sacks in each of their first 4 seasons.
Parsons spoke highly of Garrett, praising his mentorship and work ethic.
Garrett is the first player since 1982 to have 100 sacks before turning 29 years old.
Joe Burrow recently underwent surgery to address a turf toe injury on his left foot.
Sources indicate that Burrow is anticipated to be out for at least 3 months due to this injury.
While coach Zach Taylor declined to provide a specific timeline for Burrow's return, the team is preparing for his absence.
The surgery took place at the Andrews Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center in Birmingham, Alabama.
Jake Browning will step in as the starting quarterback for the Bengals in Burrow's absence, beginning with the game against the Minnesota Vikings.
Browning has prior experience starting for the Bengals, having filled in for Burrow during a previous injury.
In addition to Burrow's injury, the Bengals are also dealing with other injury concerns, including cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt.
Taylor-Britt is currently listed as doubtful for the upcoming game against the Vikings due to a hamstring injury.
His absence could pose a challenge for the Bengals' defense, particularly against Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson.
However, Bengals cornerback DJ Turner II is expected to be available, potentially filling in for Taylor-Britt.
Despite these injury setbacks, the Bengals are aiming for their first 3-0 start to a season since 2015.
The team will need to rely on its depth and resilience to overcome these challenges in the coming weeks.
A teenager accused of shooting San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall will be tried as a juvenile.
The shooting occurred during an alleged attempted robbery in August of 2024.
The suspect, now 18 years old, was 17 at the time of the incident.
He would have faced more severe penalties if tried as an adult.
Pearsall was walking to his car after shopping when the suspect allegedly attempted to rob him at gunpoint.
Police reported that the suspect targeted Pearsall due to his Rolex watch and other expensive jewelry.
During the ensuing struggle, both Pearsall and the suspect were shot.
The suspect was apprehended shortly after the confrontation.
The district attorney had pushed for the case to be tried in adult court.
The defense argued that the suspect had experienced significant trauma and abuse.
The suspect is reported to have been a model prisoner while in juvenile detention.
The ruling followed a week-long hearing to determine the appropriate jurisdiction for the case.
Several players are worth considering for your fantasy football lineup in Week 3.
We will focus on players rostered in fewer than 50% of ESPN leagues.
Denver Broncos wide receiver Troy Franklin has 15 targets in 2 games and is a solid WR3 option against the Chargers.
Elic Iomanor of the Tennessee Titans has consistent targets and is emerging as a playmaker.
Hunter Renfrow, Carolina Panthers wide receiver, has PPR upside due to the Panthers' pass-heavy offense.
Jacksonville Jaguars running back Bashal Tutin is a viable option with explosive playmaking ability.
Atlanta Falcons running back Tyler Algier has consistent volume and can be a closer late in games.
Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Jake Browning has upside but can be inconsistent.
Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. could have matchup advantages if the Falcons get an early lead.
Cleveland Browns tight end Harold Fannin Jr. has consistent usage and is a deeper league option.
The Atlanta Falcons defense is a strong play against the Panthers due to their recent performance and Bryce Young's interceptions.
These players offer potential to boost your fantasy team this week.
Be sure to consider their matchups and recent performance before making your decisions. The National Football League trade deadline is approaching, prompting discussions about potential player movements.
While it is early in the season, teams are already evaluating their rosters and considering their options.
The Buccaneers, despite being division champions, face challenges due to injuries on their offensive line.
Conversely, the Dolphins are struggling and could be looking to rebuild, making some players potential trade targets.
Tyreek Hill is a notable player to watch, given his age, contract situation, and recent performance.
Another potential trade candidate is Kirk Cousins, currently a backup quarterback for the Falcons.
James Etienne, running back for the Jaguars, is performing well but could be traded if the team falls out of contention.
Jalen Phillips, an edge rusher for the Dolphins, might also be on the move if the team continues to struggle.
Romeo Doubs, a wide receiver for the Packers, could be a trade target due to the team's depth at the position.
Several teams are expected to be active in the trade market, including the Chiefs, Eagles, Buccaneers, 49ers, and Colts.
Teams like the Browns, Dolphins, and Saints might be looking to trade players as they rebuild for the future.
Several wild card factors could influence trade activity, including injuries, unexpected contenders, and scheme fit discrepancies.
The Kansas City Chiefs, following their Super Bowl loss, are currently 0-2, a situation they last faced in 2014.
This makes them only the 8th Super Bowl loser to start the next season 0-2.
Their recent loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, a Super Bowl rematch, raises concerns about their performance.
Historically, Super Bowl losers facing in 0-2 start have not returned to the Super Bowl that same season.
The Chiefs' 2014 season, which also began with an 0-2 record, predates Patrick Mahomes' arrival.
Analyzing past teams in this situation reveals varied outcomes and contributing factors like injuries and opponent strength.
The 1980 Los Angeles Rams, for instance, lost to a team that finished with a losing record and a low DVOA.
Injuries significantly hampered the 1999 Atlanta Falcons, who ultimately finished 5-11.
More recently, the 2022 Cincinnati Bengals overcame an 0-2 start to reach the AFC Championship game.
The Chiefs' schedule presents significant challenges, with games against strong opponents like the Ravens, Lions, and Bills.
However, ESPN's Football Power Index still gives them a chance to reach and win Super Bowl 60.
The Chiefs' health, particularly that of Patrick Mahomes, will be crucial for their chances.
The National Football League playoffs effectively begin in September, with teams vying for a spot in the postseason and a chance at Super Bowl 60.
Historically, starting the season 0-2 significantly hinders playoff chances, while an 0-3 start is almost a guarantee of missing the postseason.
Since 2002, only 13.3% of teams starting 0-2 have reached the playoffs, and a mere 3.1% of teams starting 0-3 have achieved the same.
10 teams currently hold an 0-2 record, and their chances of turning their seasons around vary greatly.
The Kansas City Chiefs, despite their 0-2 start, still have a 51.8% chance of making the playoffs according to ESPN's Football Power Index.
Their struggles stem from both offensive and defensive inconsistencies, particularly a lack of explosive plays and a struggling run game.
The Houston Texans, with a 24.3% chance, have faced narrow defeats but still exhibit persistent issues with pass protection and a struggling run game.
The Chicago Bears, at 6.3%, show promise with quarterback Caleb Williams' development, but their run game and defense remain significant concerns.
The Miami Dolphins, with a 5.1% chance, have endured internal conflicts and on-field struggles, but their Week 2 performance offered a glimmer of hope.
The New York Giants, at 3.7%, face challenges in the red zone, offensive line injuries, and inconsistent defensive line play.
The New York Jets, with a 7.3% chance, have a potent run game but struggle in passing situations, especially with quarterback Justin Fields' injury.
The Carolina Panthers, at 5.5%, have a promising receiver in Tetairoa McMillan, but quarterback Bryce Young and the offensive line face significant challenges.
Jamar Chase was the top flex-eligible scorer in PPR formats last season, second overall only to Lamar Jackson.
Despite Joe Burrow's injury, Chase has the potential to remain a top fantasy player.
Backup quarterback Jake Browning performed well in 2023 when he filled in for an injured Burrow.
While Chase's production dipped during Browning's previous stint, he still had a standout game against Jacksonville.
It is important to consider that Chase's success is a combination of his own talent and Burrow's skill.
Do not underestimate Chase or Browning's potential moving forward.
Justin Herbert has the potential to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
However, the Chargers' offense may focus more on running the football this season.
It is unlikely Herbert will pass for 4,000 yards or more than 25 touchdowns.
Jalen Hurts will likely throw more in the coming weeks, utilizing his talented wide receivers.
However, it is not expected that Hurts will surpass 3,000 passing yards or 20 touchdown passes.
Caleb Williams is expected to improve his performance after a challenging game against the Lions.
Matt Eberflus, the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, is focused on improving his team's performance after giving up significant passing yards in their recent game.
He is not dwelling on his past as the head coach of the Chicago Bears, the Cowboys' opponent this Sunday.
Eberflus values his time in Chicago but is now dedicated to addressing the Cowboys' defensive vulnerabilities.
The Cowboys' defense allowed 7 pass plays of at least 25 yards against the Giants.
Eberflus is determined to find solutions for their secondary and generate a more effective pass rush.
He wants to move forward and improve the Cowboys' defense, demonstrating true grit.
Eberflus acknowledges the disappointment of losses but emphasizes the importance of learning and growing from those experiences.
His focus is on the present and the upcoming game against his former team.
Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer recognized Eberflus' dedication and hunger to be an elite coach.
Eberflus is motivated to prove himself and contribute to the Cowboys' success.
Linebacker Jack Sanborn, who played under Eberflus in Chicago, praises his coach's passion and commitment to his players' success.
Sanborn shares Eberflus' focus on the upcoming game and their shared desire to win.
Odell Beckham Jr. popularized the phrase "I am him," which has transitioned from sports to the big screen.
The sports horror thriller Him explores themes of power and obsession in the world of football.
Former Florida State Seminole wide receiver Tyreek Withers stars as Cameron Cade, a rising football star.
Director Justin Tipping blends sports and horror to create a unique film experience.
Tipping, a former athlete and film student, aims to explore the intersection of these two worlds.
Withers' authentic athleticism was crucial for the role of Cameron Cade.
Withers transitioned from soccer to football in high school and then walked on at Florida State.
He earned a scholarship with the help of Tadariel Stark and played alongside future National Football League players.
Withers was inspired by Dalvin Cook, a former Florida State teammate, for his role in him.
Cook praised Withers' character and work ethic, highlighting their bond formed during their time at Florida State.
Withers worked with quarterback consultant Jordan Palmer to prepare for the role.
Palmer focused on training Withers to throw, move, and act like a quarterback, drawing inspiration from Caleb Williams.
The film explores the pressures faced by black quarterbacks, drawing parallels to real-world experiences.
Tipping also drew inspiration from athletes like Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, and Tiger Woods for the character of Isaiah White.
Indianapolis Colts tight end Tyler Warren is tied for the best odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He shares the top spot with Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Emeka Egbuka at plus 425, according to ESPN Bet.
Warren is off to a strong start with 11 catches and 155 yards in his first 2 games.
A tight end winning this award is historically rare, occurring only once in 1961 with Mike Ditka.
If Warren wins, he could make history alongside New York Giants linebacker Abdul Carter.
If both Penn State alumni win Rookie of the Year awards, it would be the first time since 1997 that one school achieved this feat.
Joe Burrow's toe injury significantly impacted the Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl odds.
Their odds dropped from 20-1 to 75-1 at ESPN Bet after the injury.
The Bengals are now underdogs to even make the playoffs, shifting from minus 155 favorites to plus 210 underdogs.
Despite the injury, Cincinnati remains a small underdog in their Week 3 game against Minnesota.
Running back Derrick Henry was a popular bet to score a touchdown in Week 2.
However, he failed to reach the end zone in the Baltimore Ravens' win over the Cleveland Browns.
Mike Clay provides fantasy football projections, including touchdown probabilities, for each game every week.
These projections can be useful for anytime touchdown bets, daily fantasy sports lineups, or simply predicting game outcomes.
Here are the top 25 predicted touchdown scorers for Week 3 based on his projections.
Along with these predictions, we will also examine the implied odds derived from Mike Clay's projections.
We will also compare these implied odds to the money line offered by ESPN Bet at the time of publication.
Bettors can look for advantageous situations where the implied odds are higher than the offered money line.
For instance, if the implied odds are negative 150 and the money line is negative 110, it suggests a betting advantage.
Conversely, if the implied odds are positive 110 and the money line is negative 110, it is generally a bet to avoid.
For the most up-to-date odds on these and other player props, you can visit ESPN Bet.
This information can help you make informed decisions about your anytime touchdown bets.
It is important to remember that these are just projections and actual results may vary.
Good luck with your Week 3 fantasy football decisions.
Baltimore Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith reached a 95 overall rating after a 1-point increase.
San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey and Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce each dropped a point.
McCaffrey now sits at a 93 overall rating, while Kelce is at 92 overall.
Buffalo Bills offensive tackle Deion Dawkins also dropped to a 90 overall rating.
Philadelphia Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter and Ravens offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley both fell out of the 90s.
Seattle Seahawks fullback Robbie Ousts saw a significant 7-point increase.
His teammate, defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence, dropped 1 point.
The Seahawks and Falcons tied for the most total point gains with 11 points each.
The Washington Commanders suffered a 12-point loss overall.
Cornerback Jonathan Jones accounted for 5 of those lost points for the Commanders.
Atlanta Falcons running back Bijan Robinson reached a new high of 94 overall.
Detroit Lions safety Brian Branch and Buffalo Bills running back James Cook broke into the 90s.
That's a wrap on this week's NFL Blitz Talk. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time with more gridiron fire and fearless breakdowns.